All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are live. This is the day that the Lord has made, and we are already rejoicing and we're glad in it. For those of you that are coming on, please do me a favor. Hit that like button, hit that share button, tag Lolly Dolly everybody, and let them know. Prophet Ramon, the squad, and the Ramon Preston Show, we are live right here in his house from the beautiful Buckhead community of Atlanta. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Ramon Preston Show. If you don't know, now you know. My name is Ramon Preston, and I am your host. And every Monday through Friday, 12 o'clock noon, live, we show up to share information with you that is designed to help you properly start, structure, and scale your businesses, your ministries, your income streams, and even your wealth building dreams. And beginning today, ladies and gentlemen, we are designating our Winning Wealth Building Wednesdays. From here on out, every Wednesday, we're going to be designating for our real estate segment. And everything that I'm going to be sharing with you on Wednesdays in particular during our real estate segments is coming straight out of my personal playbook on real estate investing made easy. Just in case you have not had an opportunity to be a part of our business coaching community, or you may have not had an opportunity to preview our online business and financial training program called the Blueprint Game Plan. One of the programs that we have available on that Blueprint Game Plan is a real estate investing program. We teach you the fundamentals of real estate investing, not just from a investor's perspective, but also from a real estate agent's or a professional's perspective. My wife and I, we've been a real estate team since we've been married. My wife is a licensed real estate agent here in the state of Georgia. We both were actually pursuing our real estate licenses when we met. And once we came together and made the decision on what we were going to do in our lives and in our businesses and in our careers, we decided that it would be best for her to pursue and obtain her real estate license here in the state of Georgia, and that I would just start out as the Mr. Fix-It guy, because I'm good with my hands. I know my way around real estate, particularly residential at the time when we started. And so for the past 18 years, my wife and I have worked as real estate professionals, as real estate entrepreneurs, as real estate consultants, working with investors, working with landlords, working with lenders, working with bankers, with attorneys, with appraisers, working with just about everybody, if not everybody, that's in the space related to real estate. And just last Monday, we officially launched a new venture called RP Capital LLC. So it's the RP, which is a part of our family of brands under Ramon Preston Enterprises, our umbrella company, our parent organization. But RP Capital LLC is a real estate investment firm. It is a multi-strategy firm where we're focusing on value add acquisitions. We're focusing on asset management, and also a very creative strategic repositioning of a lot of properties that we will acquire ourselves. And at some point we will be working with investors in which we already have a pool of investors, a small solid pool of investors. But as we continue to grow and build our multi-strategy real estate investment firm, we'll continue to open those portals of partnership up to many more investors. And so since we are at the inception of launching our new real estate investment firm, RP Capital LLC, my team and I decided that we were going to designate at least one day out of the Ramon Preston Show that we host Monday through Friday, And that one day would be dedicated to real estate investing made easy, to teach you a lot of the fundamentals, to share with you a lot of the principles that are associated to and directly connected to real estate investing, especially for those of you that really have a dream and desire to take the free cash flow that you're accumulating, whether it's from your job as a W-2 employee, or whether it's from a side hustle, or whether it's just from a legitimate business. A lot of people are looking for ways to take their free cash flow and to invest it in safe and secure and sustainable vehicles or assets. And so today's show, I'm going to be talking about real estate investing as an ideal investment. And I want to show you why. Actually, I have 5 reasons why real estate is an ideal investment. So for those of you that are taking notes, I want you to take good notes. And don't worry, just in case you missed something, all of this information is available on our online training platform. And if you are interested in becoming a member of our coaching program or just being a member of our business community, you're going to get this information from me and from my team on a regular basis, particularly if you're part of our 1-year business coaching program. Because my wife and I, we've consulted investors. We have worked with people on both residential and commercial levels of investing. We've worked with developers. We've worked with associations. We have worked with landlords who owned 1 or 2 residential properties. We've worked with landlords who owned a portfolio of residential properties. We've worked with investors and investment groups that have come together to own residential and commercial properties. So we've seen it all. And so I'm so excited, number one, because we are now officially at the inception of our own real estate investment ventures, particularly as an acquisition company, as an asset management company, and as a creative strategic repositioning company. And so not only am I excited for what we're doing, but I'm excited to share with you a lot of the valuable information that my wife and I have learned within the last 18 years and that we have utilized. And one of the reasons why it's very exciting to me to share this information is because so many people want to get into real estate investing. So many people want to know about real estate, but you become apprehensive and sometimes you become overwhelmed when you start listening to people talk about real estate investing. And just keep in mind, even if you're not ready financially, even if you're not ready within your credit, maybe you're not ready just in your education, it doesn't mean this is not the best time for you to move forward. There's no better time for you to move forward to learn about not just the concept of investing, but for you to learn about the object of real estate. Because the truth is, if you're going to invest in real estate at any point in your life, or if you're going to invest in anything at any point in your life, you have to first learn about the concept of investing. And that learning, that education, that training that you get, that discipline that you develop, that muscle that you build on the concept of investing should first work in your own personal life. So you should be the first piece of real estate. You should be the first property. You should be the first asset that you invest your free cash flow into. And then once you build the muscle and develop the discipline to make those types of asset class investments into the real estate of yourself, then you need to learn how to integrate that investing discipline into your business, so that you can continue to increase your free cash flow, which gives you more capabilities of doing bigger and greater things when you get into real estate investing. So today we want to talk about why real estate is the ideal investment. And I gave you the acronym for I.D.E.A.L. That's I.D.E.A.L. So we use that as an acronym to identify 5 reasons why real estate is the ideal investment. And so we're going to go through each one, which, by the way, if you have any questions, the squad is lurking, y'all. The squad is lurking in the comments. So if you have any questions about real estate, Maybe you have questions about business, about holding companies, about financial literacy, about anything that I'll be talking about on a regular basis. Feel free to drop the question in the comments and I'll be more than happy to answer that question, which, by the way, I want to keep all of you reminded, because we only have a few days remaining. This upcoming Saturday, November the 20th, from 12 p.m. to 4 p.m., I'm going to be hosting a sales and marketing workshop. My team and I have put together a spectacular presentation. I mean, it is, in my words, cold. It's absolutely spectacular. There's going to be like a lot of value in this upcoming workshop, and it's only $29 for you to join us virtually. It's going to be a 4-hour deep dive on the nuts and bolts of marketing and sales. And if you'd like to join me in person, it's only $69. So literally for $29, you will leave that workshop guaranteed with a great understanding of what marketing is and the basic fundamental principles and practices of how marketing needs to work within your life as a business, as a brand, and even for you as a brand ambassador. It's going to be absolutely amazing. And you're going to leave that workshop with your own sales process. And most likely, if you're able to keep up with us in the training, you're going to leave out of there with your own script so that you can go and start cold calling. You can leave that event, maybe just step out of the room and start practicing it. But it's going to be a life changer for so many of you. All of the people who are in our coaching program, we give access to our workshops and our masterminds free. So every time we host a quarterly workshop and or mastermind, it is a free event for our coaching clients. And so because this is the last event that we're hosting for the year, at least live event that we will have in-person participation, I wanted to give our community, those of you that watch me, those of you that follow me, those of you that really trust us and like us and appreciate what we share, I wanted to give you an opportunity. So make the $29 investment to show up virtually. And just in case you cannot watch it live, you can always go back and get the replay. And in addition to this upcoming event on sales and marketing, we're also giving you free access to our holding company workshop and our financial systems workshop. So you're going to learn about how to start and structure a holding company, how to file and form your paperwork, how to integrate other systems within your holding company, how to maximize the benefits of having a holding company. We're going to be teaching you in the financial systems workshop about QuickBooks, how to configure it for your business, how to make QuickBooks work to your advantage as a business owner, how to develop creative tax strategies to minimize your taxes and maximize your profitability. And guess what? If you are like me and many other entrepreneurs and business owners right now, before the year ends, you are looking for ways to minimize your taxes. So why is real estate the I.D.E.A.L? The I.D.E.A.L investment? Well, this acronym reveals 5 reasons why I believe real estate is the ideal investment. So let's look at the I. What is the I? The I is because of income. This is one of the reasons why real estate is the ideal investment. Now, for those of you that have followed me long enough, you should already know what my thesis is, which is the same as a lot of financial gurus and experts in this space. My thesis is this: your income, no matter what kind of income it is, your income by far is your number one wealth building tool. So if you plan on building wealth at any level, or at any point in your life, you're going to start the process of building wealth with your income. So we're not just talking about your W-2 income. We're not just talking about your 1099 income. We're not just talking about your active operating business income. As a matter of fact, the income that I'm referring to when it comes to real estate investing is not earned income or active income. This income that I'm referring to is passive income. And that's very important for you to understand, because a lot of times people get into real estate and they start making money in real estate, whether they are operating as agents, whether they're operating as wholesalers, whether they're operating as appraisers, whether they're operating as brokers, maybe they're operating as flippers. So there are so many different levels to operating in real estate investing, but a lot of those real estate investing related activities produce active or earned income, not necessarily passive income. So the flipper is not going to be treated the same way as an investor in real estate who has created this type of income. So when I say income as the I in the ideal for real estate investing, I'm talking about passive income. Now, this can happen so many different ways. This can happen through you. Let's say if you have a holding company and you have some free cash flow within your holding company ecosystem, and then you start operating LLC under your holding company, which would not be owned by you, but owned by your holding company. And then you allocate certain financial resources, certain cash flow to that real estate investment company. Let's say if you have LLC number 1 as your holding company, right? So this is your holding company right here. This is LLC number 1. Then you got some free cash flow, whether it's in LLC number 1 or somewhere else. But then you decide, you know what? I want to create some passive income. I want to create passive income. Well, you could start LLC number 2 and use LLC number 2 as a vehicle to acquire real estate that can create passive income. So this is how you start the process of building wealth. Now, my wife and I, we knew this years ago, even when we were working with investors, because once we started getting into these circles with investors and we started going to these meetings and we started like looking at some of the paperwork that these investors were putting together, we realized that, oh my God, first of all, we definitely in the wrong side of the business. We were in the real estate business. See, this is why I like being real and transparent and open, because the journey that we are now on with the launching of this new real estate investment firm, this journey that we're now on, a lot of you are going to literally watch us become multi, hector, probably at some point sooner than later, billionaires. And you're going to be like, oh my God, I literally watched the evolution and the progression and the growth and the expansion of Ramon Preston, his wife, and his whole company, but they got to a point that they started pivoting, and this is how that pivot looks. And so when my wife and I years ago were watching people, like we've literally watched big REITs, real estate investment trusts, and big companies that put funds together. We literally watched them come into Atlanta, particularly between downtown, midtown, and Buckhead. We have literally watched this ourselves. That's when we knew we were playing a different game than everybody else. So we literally saw companies come in, acquire, let's say, condominium complexes. It could be a couple 100-unit complex that would probably be zoned as a condo. All right, so that means everybody owned them separately. We've seen them acquire those properties, convert those condominium complexes into luxury apartment complexes, go back to banks, refinance, pull out tens of millions of dollars, and then sell it, allow somebody else to acquire it. They took their profits and they moved on. And even in the process of them waiting, they were still creating passive income, because the game or the goal was for them to use real estate as an ideal investment to create what? To create income. So at some point in your career, at some point in your business, at some point in your financial freedom or wealth building journey, at some point, you're going to have to start thinking about, how can I take my free cash flow? How can I take my earned income? Or another word, how could I take my active income, convert it into a vehicle or an asset so that I could create this thing called passive income. So the first reason why real estate investing is the ideal investment is because of what? Because of income. Because your income is by far your number one wealth building tool. And guess what? Just in case you don't know this, when you own real estate, you own an asset that produces consistent income. Think about that. When you own real estate, you own an asset that produces consistent income. Now, I'm not opposed to any of you who want to, invest in the stock market, or who want to invest in crypto or Bitcoin, or, you want to invest in bonds or whatever it is that you invest in. But here's what I want you to consider. Here's what I want you to consider. When it comes to income that you are looking to produce when you invest your money. So you have earned income, right? Or let's say active income. When you're deciding to take your earned or your active income and put that in an investment because you now want to create passive income, right? Now, again, we're not just saying passive income in terms of you creating income that you're not necessarily working for. That's one aspect of passive income. The other aspect of passive income is how that income is going to be treated for tax purposes. I think so many people miss that part, because I hear people say it all the time. I hear people say, "Oh, I've created passive income. I'm making passive income." What do you mean you're making passive income? You mean you're making passive income because you're not working for that earned income or active income that's coming in? Or have you created passive income because, number one, you're not necessarily working for it, the money is working for you, but number two, the income is going to be treated as passive for tax purposes. All right? So that's one thing you really have to think about when you're getting to a point to where you're ready to take some earned and active income and you're ready to put it to create some passive income. You got to make sure that, okay, if it's passive from the perspective that I ain't got to get out there and work for it with my time, it's not earned and active in terms of me having to go work for it, but I also got to make sure that this income that I'm bringing in is going to be treated as passive income for tax purposes. Okay, so that's going to be very, very important. And again, think about this second point that I just made. When you own real estate, you own an asset that produces consistent income. So for example, let's say if you have $10,000. Let's say if you have 10 grand right now, you say, you know what, I want to take my 10,000 and I want to go invest it. Right? I want to put that $10,000 into an investment. Okay, well, is it going to produce consistent income? Meaning that once you put that $10,000 into that investment, how soon are you going to get money coming back to you? And see, that's the thing about real estate, because you could literally go buy a piece of real estate today. Right? You could go buy real estate right now. You can go buy a piece of real estate today. As long as you do it the right way, as long as the analytics and the numbers and everything, makes sense. Just in this example, you could go put $10,000 into a piece of real estate. If you have a tenant in that real estate, or if that real estate is already producing income, well, guess what? They're going to be paying their rent December. Right? So if you were to close on that deal before December and there's a tenant paying rent December 1st, guess what that means you're going to see in December? You're going to see income. And that income is going to be based on the $10,000 that you just invested. So there are a lot of investments. I'm not going to deter you from doing what you want to do, but I'm just showing you why real estate is ideal. There are a lot of things you could put $10,000 in that you might not necessarily see income produced coming back to you within the next 30, 45, or 60 days. So that's the first reason why real estate is the ideal investment. The second reason is the D in I.D.E.A.L. The D in I.D.E.A.L is depreciation. The D in I.D.E.A.L is depreciation. So what exactly is depreciation? Well, depreciation creates non-taxable deductions that substantially reduce your overall taxable income. Okay? Now again, this information, I teach it in our Real Estate Investing Made Easy course that we have in our Blueprint Game Plan. But I want to at least, like I'm coming out the gate with our new Wednesday real estate segment with some real game to show you if you've been thinking about investing in real estate, or if you're just looking at what type of investing you should do with your free cash flow, you might want to really lean in to learn a little bit more about real estate. Because my wife and I, we're already sold. Like there's nothing else beyond the scope of real estate that we're going to be dumping a whole lot of our money into other than ourselves and our businesses, okay, or our organization as a whole. But why is depreciation the second reason why real estate is the ideal investment? Because depreciation creates non-taxable deductions that substantially reduce your overall taxable income. So when you hear about people like Donald Trump, who happens to own billions of dollars of real estate, right? He has billions of dollars of real estate under management in his organization, and other gurus and individuals who are seemingly not paying taxes. It's not that they're not making money, right? It's not that they're not getting income. It's not like the I is not a reality. It's just that the income that a lot of people are bringing in, especially if that income is passive income that's coming from real estate, they're getting the I in income, but they're not being, but they're getting the I in income, but they're using depreciation to lower their overall taxable income, because now that piece of real estate creates this thing called depreciation. And I've seen it happen before. I know people who get passive income from a piece of real estate. They get a certain dollar amount from a piece of real estate. And once they get that passive income, once they apply depreciation, they're paying zero in taxes, and most likely they're showing up at a loss. This is like a negative. They're showing up a loss for that calendar year, even though they made money, because the power of depreciation. Now, some of you may be able to use depreciation concepts, to some extent with certain equipment that you use in your business, or certain things that are considered to be depreciating assets for your business operation. But just with regard to real estate, this can be a big deal. Why? Because depreciation creates non-taxable deductions that substantially reduce your overall taxable income. So first of all, your income is going to be considered passive as long as you invest in real estate the right way. And it is a passive way, meaning that you're not actively working for it. You're not earning that money with your time or with your efforts. And number two, it's going to be considered passive in how it's treated for tax purposes. So once you cover the I and you start investing in income producing assets like real estate, well, now you have the D, where depending on how much passive income you're bringing in, the taxes on that is much lower, generally speaking, than it is for earned income, right? Or active income, W-2 or business income. But then you're able to use depreciation to lower that overall taxable income. It reduces it. And a lot of times, depending on how much real estate you have and how much of a depreciation that you are using, in some cases, especially in commercial real estate, I've seen people just accelerate their depreciation, which means they take it like all now instead of like breaking it up for the next 27 or whatever years that they allow it. So the second reason is depreciation. For those of you that have any questions, please feel free to drop the questions in the comments. Some of you may not have any questions with regard to real estate. Maybe you just want to learn and you're just very interested in it. And I want you to understand that all this information that I'm sharing with you, my wife and I have seen all these scenarios play out. I'm talking about 18 years of being my wife being a real estate agent, we being a 2-person real estate team for years, working with small and medium and large investors, landlords, residential, commercial properties. We've seen enough of these scenarios that we have a good idea of how this thing works. Okay, so the third reason real estate is the ideal investment is the E. The E is for equity. The E is for equity. And again, you may have some investment that you feel like, you know what, I could create the ideal scenario for myself with this type of business. There are a lot of private equity groups and venture capital groups and hedge funds and mutual fund companies that invest in other things outside of real estate. But I guarantee you what, if you look deep enough into a lot of those companies, especially those hedge funds and those mutual fund companies and insurance companies, guess what they're investing in? Or let me put it this way, they are backing a lot of what they do on the front end. They're backing those companies with hard assets called real estate. So equity is the third reason. Now, why is equity the third reason why real estate is the ideal investment? Because equity is the difference between the price you pay for real estate and the overall market value of that investment. So equity is that spread between what you pay for the real estate. Like in residential real estate, there's a thing called ARV, after repair value. So for example, you buy a property for let's say $80,000. I don't even know if that property even exists in most places, right, in most markets right now. So let's just say you buy a property for $100K, right? And the property needs let's say $50,000 worth of repairs, but the aftermarket value, after repair value of that property is $200K. Well, that means you have what? You have $50,000 worth of equity that could be sitting in that property based on the money that you put in. And the truth is, it's really more than that, but I'm gonna wait till we get to leverage to explain that. But the truth is, it's more than that. So if you could buy a $100,000 property, put $50,000 in it, and this is like just a random scenario, so don't just quote me on this and be like, oh, he said I can go buy a $100,000 property, I can put 50 grand in it, and it could turn into a two. I ain't say that. What I'm saying is there are examples, all right, that do exist. And there are times that you can pay a certain dollar amount for a property. You can put a certain dollar amount in that property, and a lot of times it may not even be a whole lot that you put in that property. But in any event, there's going to be a market value or maybe an after repair value, which means once you bring that property up to standard, if you were to go back and get that property reappraised, okay? Well, the new value of that property is going to create this thing called what? It's going to create this thing called equity. And that will be the difference between the price you pay for the real estate and the overall market value of that investment. And so equity plays a very important role, not just in real estate, but it plays a very important role in how you position your investment portfolio to build wealth and to build net worth. So a lot of people, they have accelerated their net worth. Like their net worth could be $100,000. Well, a lot of people have accelerated their net worth, right? From 100,000, let's say, to 600,000 because their real estate portfolio had so much equity that it increased their net worth, and it gave them that push, that spread that they needed to start the wealth building process. Because the more equity you have, when you go back or whenever you decide to go back and refinance that property and get it appraised again, now you're able to pull out this thing called equity because you've created that spread. This is a big deal. A lot of y'all might have heard of the BRRRR strategy, the B, the buy, the rehab, the rent, the refinance. I forgot what the whole the BRRRR is. What are the 4 R's of the BRRRR strategy? It's the buy, it's the rehab, it's the rent, it's the refinance, and the repeat. That's what the BRRRR strategy is. You hear it all the time, especially on podcasts like Bigger Pockets. So my point is, whatever the strategy is that you're using, once you acquire that piece of real estate, over the course of time, you will increase your equity stake in that piece of real estate. But you want to make sure that you put yourself in a position to use that equity at some point, so that when you do refinance, and that's a whole nother conversation we can have, but when you do refinance, you have enough meat on the bone in equity that you can pull out a certain dollar amount, which is going to be tax-free. It's not going to be active income or earned income. That ain't even passive income. That's going to be a non-taxable event that you could take that money you cash out with in equity, and you're able to go repeat that process somewhere else. So the 4th reason why real estate is the ideal investment is because of this thing called appreciation. And I'm not talking about appreciation like, hey, I appreciate you, dog. I appreciate you, boo. No, I ain't talking about that appreciation. I'm talking about appreciation. Appreciation. What is appreciation? Appreciation is the increase of your property's value that continues to occur through time and through other strategies. So appreciation is a big deal because the more time goes by, the more appreciation works to your advantage, because the value of your property goes up. Now, again, your equity is going to increase by appreciation, but depending on what kind of real estate you have, like I have seen commercial investors force appreciation on their properties in ways that would like make you pull your hair out to just even think you can use one piece of property, one piece of real estate, particularly commercial real estate, and force appreciation to the extent that the value of that property skyrockets. So when it's commercial, that appreciation is going to be tied to the income or the net operating income that's being produced on that property. But to some extent, you will see certain similar things with appreciation in residential, but it ain't nothing like commercial. So we don't want to even get it twisted. So appreciation is about increasing the value, in most cases, over time. All right. So think about it. You purchase a piece of property, right? You rent the property out. You got cash flow coming in every month from that property. So it's an income producing property. But every month you get it depending on how you acquired it. Let's say if you acquired it through a loan, every month you're paying the mortgage down, right? You're paying the mortgage down, but the market, let's say if it's a commercial piece of property particularly, because the income of that property continues to go up over time, and the mortgage payment or the debt service is continuing to pay that debt service or that mortgage down. Every time you pay that payment, appreciation is causing the value of that property to go up while the debt service is going down, while you're continuing to get income. And before you know it, there's an explosion that takes place that literally can change your life forever. That's one of the reasons why the first acquisition we are currently working on, I'm talking about, we launched our real estate investment firm last Monday, and a week and a half later, we're talking about like a week and 2 days later, we're already in the process of acquiring our first commercial property, That's one of the reasons why I'm like laser focused on commercial real estate, even though we will consider some residential if it fits our underwriting criteria. But for the most part, man, I want to play that commercial game. Like me and my wife, we found that out. Remember, we've worked with a lot of different properties here in Buckhead and Midtown and downtown, and we've seen how these things work when it comes to commercial real estate. But again, the cost of entry can be real high, or you just have to be very knowledgeable in what you're doing and have people to trust you to come along for the ride with you. And so we're just grateful that we're able to make that happen at this point in our life, because this is not what we're doing right now. And that's why I keep saying it is a new venture, because even though my wife and I have been in real estate and we've worked with countless individuals, from tenants all the way to trusts. The reason why we're considering this, and it is a new venture, because this is not a residential investment firm. This is a commercial investment firm. So our main focus is value add acquisitions, asset management, and creative repositioning strategies. But our objective is commercial. So just keep that in mind, because I don't want you to be thinking, oh, wow, y'all just starting out. Well, we ain't just starting out in real estate. And we have literally been in positions with residential real estate that if we really wanted to, we could probably have hundreds of residential properties. And we've been in control of many of them without even owning them. I shared that with y'all yesterday. And I know so many investors, so many people control real estate. A lot of times it's residential, but a lot of people I know who are in real estate investing, they control real estate without even owning the real estate. But because they know how to work paper, they know how to work contracts, they put themselves in control of that real estate. But the game that we're playing and that we're moving into is commercial. It's commercial, because I know that's how we're going to become billionaires. And so the last reason is the L, and that is leverage. So for those of you that's watching and you're learning something, I want you to put some takeaways in the comments. Let me know what you learned today. Of course, you may have learned a different meaning of the acronym I.D.E.A.L, but just give me an idea of what you've learned, and maybe there's some things that you are interested in finding more about. I would love to provide that value to you on our show every Wednesday when we host our real estate segment. And perhaps you would take me up on the offer to join our online training program so that you can have access to this information on demand, because our online training program is an on-demand program. So you're able to access that training, particularly on real estate and anything else that relates to real estate, like building a legitimate business system, connecting that business system and the potential to invest in real estate through that business system, connecting it to a holding company concept so that you can reallocate those resources that you have. But let me get to my last reason. The last reason why real estate is the ideal investment is because of this thing called leverage. Now, what is leverage? Well, leverage allows you to own real estate assets that are typically 3 to 4 times more valuable than your initial cash investment. Now, depending on what type of real estate it is, that 3 to 4 times can be even better. I'm using 3 to 4 times more valuable than your initial cash investment because I'm thinking about commercial real estate. So this is the power of leverage. Now, again, some people don't believe that debt is good, and to each its own. But when it comes to the ideal investment in real estate, a piece of property that creates consistent income, that provides opportunities for depreciation, that gives you the ability to build equity, that allows you to use appreciation, and that provides financial leverage. Like, whatever you think about debt, you're going to change your mind after you do your first deal. I guarantee you're going to change your mind. So let's look at leverage. Again, leverage allows you to own real estate assets that are typically 3 to 4 times more valuable than your initial investment. So again, I'm gonna give you 2 scenarios because some of you might not be familiar with the commercial side of leverage, and some of you may not be familiar with any side of leverage. So let's just look at residential real estate, okay? So residential real estate, let's say if it's a $200,000 house, a $200,000 piece of property. If it's residential, of course, it could be a townhome, it could be a condo, it could be a single family home, it could be a modular home, it could be a duplex, it could be a triplex, it could be a fourplex. It can't be more than a fourplex. If it's 5 or more, it's commercial. So anything under 5, 4 and below, it's going to be residential. So when it comes to residential real estate, depending on how you structure the deal, what do I mean by that? Well, let's say if it's a fourplex and it's $200,000, okay? Let's say if it's a $200,000 fourplex. Well, if you go to the bank and tell the bank or the lender, I'm gonna live in one and I'm gonna rent the other 3 out, your leverage is gonna be much more, because in and out, meaning from the beginning of the process to get that loan to the close, you might at best put down 5, maybe 10%. Okay, maybe 5%. You might be able to get a loan for 3.5%. Now, I'm not the loan person. My team, they do that. My wife and our in-house lender, they do that. But if I'm not mistaken, you could probably get that loan if you're occupying it at 3.5%, let's say. But you know, prepaids and whatever the other costs are associated to it, you know, down payment or whatever. Let's say if it's 5% out the door. Let's just say worst case scenario is 10%. Well, that means, let's say if your worst case scenario is 10%, that's $20,000, right? See, this is the power of leverage. Even in this scenario, think about it. In this scenario, you could take $20,000. You see that? Can you see that? Your worst case scenario, if you were purchasing this piece of property to rent 3 out because it was a quad or triplex or duplex, whatever it is, in this example, if you had a worst case scenario of 10% down that you had to put down to acquire this piece of property because you were going to be living in one and then you was going to rent the other 3 out, right? In this hypothetical example, it will cost you $20,000, your worst case scenario. But leverage, the power of leverage, allows you to acquire a $200,000 asset for 20 grand. Do you understand that concept? So for $20,000, I can buy a $200,000 asset. That's powerful. That's the power of leverage. Now again, if you used an example in commercial real estate, and I was just talking to a commercial broker, banker rather, the other day. He wasn't a broker, he's a banker. I was just talking to him the other day. We were talking about literally underwriting a commercial property that we're looking at. So basically what the broker was telling me is, be comfortable with at least 30% down for that piece of property we were looking at. Be comfortable with at least 30% down. Okay, so that's a 30% down for commercial property. So let's just say if that property is $1 million. Let's just say if this is $1 million commercial piece of property, right? Let me make sure I got my number right, because I don't want to be off, because I know some of these internet moguls, they'll come back and try to fact check you. You know how they is. So 1 million minus 30% is 300,000, right? Is it 300,000 or is 3? Yes, 300,000. That's 3.6. Yeah, I think 300,000. So let's just say hypothetically it's $300,000. So for a commercial piece of property, I would have to put a third down. But remember I told you what leverage is. Leverage is your ability to own a real estate asset that's typically 3 to more times valuable than your initial cash investment. So again, leverage gives me an opportunity to take 300 grand and own a $1 million asset that produces income, that gives me depreciation, that will continue to build equity, that I will be able to create appreciation and to some extent force it, and utilize leverage for $300. See, this is why real estate is the ideal investment, because where can you go? Where can you go? Or what investment can you find? Very few. Okay, there may be some businesses and some other investments, but it's very difficult, probably in most cases impossible, to take a certain dollar amount like 300 grand and go find $1 million asset that you can acquire and enjoy all 5 of those benefits. So that's why real estate is the ideal investment. So you can't say you're not learning and you're not getting the gain, and you can't say that what I'm saying is not true and fraudulent, because we've seen it happen too many times. So for those of you that enjoyed our real estate segment today, every Wednesday we're going to use our we're going to use the Ramon Preston Show on Wednesday to talk about real estate investments. So for those of you that have any questions or comments, feel free to drop them in the comments. We'll be more than happy to answer them. Of course, tomorrow and Friday, we're going to be taking a lot of time out to focus your attention on our upcoming sales and marketing workshop on Saturday. I want to urge you, if you know you need a sales process and you need a sales script, you need some technique on how to sell your products and services to the people that you communicate with and you come into contact with, you need to be present and participate in our upcoming workshop. If you know you need a more professionalized structure and outline for how you need to market yourself, your products and services in your business, you need to be at this workshop, because we're going to be covering all of the above. So I hope all of you enjoyed today's show. Please, for those of you that have not, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube page. We have over 6,000 subscribers. Make sure you follow us on LinkedIn. We have over 7,000, almost 7,000. And follow us on Facebook and Instagram. All of those social media platforms, you can find me. If you search me, you can find me at Ramon Preston, at Ramon Preston. I want you to be sure to have your notifications on. Share this information, share this content with your partners, your associates, your colleagues, your fellow students, your neighbors, lolly dolly, everybody. Let them know there are people, particularly in the Black faith community, who are taking biblical wealth building principles, who are taking kingdom economic principles, and who are sharing it and translating it in a way that is being made easy. We need more people to not just hear what we're saying, but we need more people to do what we're saying needs to be done. We're hearing a lot of people talking about how there's going to be a generational wealth transfer, not just in the church, but even in society as a whole, with all of the baby boomers dying and baby boomers retiring and baby boomers, basically giving their businesses and their investments and all of their legacies over to their children and children's children. Well, guess what? Biblically speaking, there's a generational wealth transfer. But how are we going to receive that transfer if we ain't putting ourselves in a position to, number one, get educated, number two, get trained on what we're being educated, and then number three, becoming disciplined enough and building the muscle to actually remain consistent and committed to executing what we're educated and trained on until we see an overwhelming manifestation of substantial success. And that's what we're doing here at Ramon Preston Enterprises. That's what we're going to continue to pursue through all of our divisions and subsidiaries. And if there's anything that we can do, we're here. We want to make it easier for you because we've been through the learning curve. We have developed systems and strategies and solutions and processes to simplify, to make easy what it is that you're doing, whether it's you creating a holding company, building divisions and subsidiaries, whether it's you developing a real estate investment firm or some type of real estate investment company, or any investment you want to pursue, whether it's financial literacy, creative tax strategies. We're teaching these things and we want to make it easy for you. So we love you. We appreciate you. We'll see you tomorrow, same place, same time, right here on the Ramon Preston Show.